Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all, and particularly the co-hosts of today's meeting, for your commitment to United Nations peacekeeping. Across the decades, our peacekeeping operations have helped countries from Liberia and Sierra Leone to Timor-Leste and Cambodia in transition from conflict to peace. They protect hundreds of thousands of civilians, support political solutions to conflict, and help preserve ceasefires. But as conflicts become more complex and high risk, our operations must keep pace. 27 United Nations peacekeepers were killed by violent acts in 2018. And I ask you please to observe a moment of silence for them and for all who have died in the service of peace. Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, making our missions stronger and safer is one of the key elements of my Action for Peacekeeping initiative, together with refocusing peacekeeping with more realistic expectations and mobilizing greater support for political solutions. And I thank the more than 150 governments that have signed up to the Statement of Shared Commitments. We are already seeing results. Last year, there was a significant reduction in the number of peacekeepers killed. And our missions are more agile and more proactive, as we have seen recently in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Central African Republic. Thanks in part to your support at previous ministerial meetings in London and Vancouver, the UN now has verified military units on standby that can be deployed in less than 60 days for the first time ever. But we still lack some critical capabilities. As the Declaration of Shared Commitments makes clear, we must bridge these gaps together. In Mali, there is an urgent need for the armored personnel carriers that greatly improve chances of surviving an attack. More than 119 peacekeepers have been killed and 397 injured in Mali since MINUSMA was established in 2013. In the Central African Republic and many other missions, we need helicopters that can operate 24/7 for medical and casualty evacuations from remote areas. Elsewhere, we need armed utility helicopters, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance units, quick reaction forces, and air medical evacuation teams. I urge you to consider contributing these high-value and critical capabilities, and I assure you they will be utilized effectively and efficiently in accordance with our command and control policy. I hope you will also consider innovative solutions like triangular partnerships and joint contingents, in which one group of governments provides equipment and training, and another provides troops and police. Training is essential to address our peacekeeping challenges in relation to safety and security, the protection of civilians, and the overall performance of our personnel. Quality training requires sustained investments by all member states, and we count on your continued support. And beyond better equipment and readiness, we must increase local engagement. Women peacekeepers and civilian staff are essential to improve those efforts. We have almost doubled the number of female staff officers and observers since the Vancouver meeting, and more women are deploying in mixed police and military units. I commend everyone involved, including the Canadian government, for launching the ELSI initiative for women in peace operations. But we must do more, because it is unacceptable that in 2019, only 4% of our military peacekeepers are women. We will present a strategy to increase the numbers of female uniformed personnel to the Security Council next month and I urge your support. Mesdames,
ladies and gentlemen, ministers, despite the work accomplished by the United Nations in partnership with member states, cases of sexual exploitation and abuse continue to cause irreparable harm to those people we are duty-bound to protect. From the beginning of my mandate, I have prioritized ending sexual exploitation and abuse. Other civilian activities of the United Nations, but also in peacekeeping operations. I welcome the strengthening of partnerships with member states through the Voluntary Compact on the prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse, which today has 101 signatories, and the Leadership Circle on the prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse in United Nations operations. It now includes 72 current or former heads of state or government. I appointed a defender of victims' rights for the UN system who will work in close collaboration with public authorities and the civil society so that the rights and the dignity of victims are at the heart of our response. Recent numbers indicate that these measures are beginning to bear fruit, but much remains to be done. The era of silence and taboos has ended, and it must be replaced by an era of transparency and accountability. I am fully committed to the environmental management of our missions and in the reduction of risk to personnel, the community, and their environment to a minimum. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the reform of the peace and security architecture of the United Nations allows us to adapt our approach to the regions where the most complex conflicts are and where our peacekeepers are deployed. The support of member states in seeking political solutions is essential to the success of peacekeeping operations. I ask you now to unreservedly support all efforts expended for peace, especially in the Central African Republic and South Sudan. Our management reforms established a platform for more effective and efficient support to our missions. The Uniform Capability Division is now a single window for troop-contributing countries and police-contributing countries. We have also improved and streamlined our responses to cases of improper conduct. All administrative law aspects have been integrated to ensure normalized procedures throughout the organization. Nevertheless, although progress has been achieved in many areas, some of our peacekeeping missions are facing grave financial difficulties, which have been exacerbated by the structural weaknesses in our budgetary process. I have submitted proposals to the General Assembly aimed at correcting this situation, and I count on your support in this. It is unacceptable. It is not just that the troop-contributing countries and PCCs be the countries that finance the activities of the United Nations. Only a solid and continued partnership can help us to promote lasting peace for those that we serve. I thank you.